Hi, everyone. It was another really great week in room 204. We had a lot of learning happen in a short amount of time with our weird day off in the middle of the week, but I hope you all enjoyed that day and were able to get some things done that you may not be able to get done other days. This week, we had lots of learning that happened. In reading, we continued practicing our check for understanding. I want the children really to ingrain that check for understanding into their brain, because what I've noticed is that sometimes when I am not working with them one-on-one, they're just reading, which is great. But I also want to make sure that they are understanding what they're reading. So if you could kindly encourage them to just take that minute to pause when they finish reading a page and ask themselves, who were the characters on that page? What happened on that page? If they can answer that question, then they know that they can go on and keep reading. But I just want to make sure that they are understanding the stories that they're reading independently. So if you could continue practicing that skill and strategy with them at home, I would appreciate that. And we'll continue practicing that here at PO as well. We also continued looking at vowel sounds this week. We looked again at the letter A, and we are looking a little bit at the letter E, and we will continue looking at the sounds that the vowels make up through Thanksgiving break-ish, so we can really get a solid understanding of those vowels and what sounds that they make when they're in different words. With writing this week, we took a pause on our information writing, and Miss Boeing and I had our students practice with quotation marks. When we read through their slime stories, we noticed that the students were adding in dialogue, which is conversation among two characters, which is awesome. It really helps to bring their stories to life. But something that we noticed is that they were forgetting to use quotation marks, or if they were using them, they weren't using them in the correct spot. So we wanted to take a minute or a few days to really look at what quotation marks are, why we use them, and how we use them in our writing. So we've been working with Miss Boeing's class. The students are partnered with another student from Miss Boeing's class, and we've been having dialogue or conversation with real people, and the students are documenting that, and they are practicing using quotation marks in their writing so that when they go to apply that to their stories, their narratives that they're either doing in work on writing or the narratives that we'll work on when we move into our narrative unit, they'll be using the dialogue and quotation marks appropriately. So I'm looking forward to that. We will resume our nonfiction information writing next week. This week with math, the fourth graders continued reviewing their concepts from the week, and they will be taking their math test very shortly. And so Mrs. Sala will have those to you as soon as possible so that you can see them. Third grade students, we took our math test this week, and the math test will be going home on Monday with your children. I just need a few more students. I had a few more students that I needed to test before I could send them home and before we could review it in class and send them home. Third graders, though, this week, we're looking at two different things. We really focused on two things. The first was what's my rule boxes. What's my rule boxes are something that is not unfamiliar to the children. They have used what's my rule boxes in the past before. What they are familiar with is either adding or subtracting a number. The part that we're adding on now is that occasionally the rule might be to multiply. Multiply by 2, multiply by 4, or divide by 2, divide by 4. So that's where the tricky stuff is kind of starting to come in. We're taking things that we know a little bit about already, and we're adding on to that. So continue practicing those skills at home, and they'll be able to recognize those patterns when they're doing things like what's my rule boxes or frames and arrows. The next big thing that we focused on this week was scaled bar graphs. And a scaled bar graph is, if here is my graph, now it's not filled in here, but what it's scaled means is that the numbers on the side here don't go up by ones. They go up by another number. So this example here has the numbers going up by 2s. And so what that means is that if the whole box is shaded in, that counts for 2. If the box is halfway shaded in, that only counts for 1. And so I did notice when I was assessing the students this week on their math test that they had some trouble really interpreting those scaled bar graphs. They know they can read the bar graphs when it's 1-to-1. But when it's scaled like this, they're still counting by ones, and that's not going to work because they won't get the correct information. So when you see that on the math test, if you notice that your child got it wrong, don't worry. We are continuing to work on it, so hopefully they'll get that skill before we assess it the next time, and we can continue practicing with that. This week also brought our first Wednesday of the month for November, and so with that, it brought our kindness challenge. This month, the kindergartners and the third graders and fourth graders in our class decided to write letters to veterans and active duty servicemen and women in the United States, because on Monday, November 11th, it is Veterans Day, and so it's just a good day to remember the people that have fought for the United States and that continue to fight for the safety of all people in the United States. So the children made very cute cards to send, and we're looking forward to sending those this weekend. The last two things, I have three things. Two are clerical. The first one, I forgot to mention on the November calendar book checkout. So we have two more book checkouts this November. The first one will be on Wednesday, November 14th. And the second one will be on Monday, November 26th. So please have your children send their books to school on those two E days. They are the letter E. So whenever you see an E day on the calendar, that's when we have book checkout. So again, I apologize for leaving that off. The other clerical thing I want to tell you about is that going home today is the Scholastic book order for the month of November. Books make really great holiday presents. So if you see anything in there that you want to purchase for your child and you want it to be a secret, just send me an email and I'm happy to keep it here and get it to you separately. Otherwise, if you have a book that you want to purchase for your child, you can order online and the form will go home. The information with how to order online will go home with these. And so then you can follow that, or you can send a check with the order form on the back. And I'd be happy to order those for you. As a reminder, anytime you make a purchase, you're not only supporting your child and their reading, but you're also supporting our classroom here at Poe, because every time a purchase is made, our class accrues points, and then we can use those points to purchase other books. And so it's pretty exciting. The kids like to have new books to read, so we appreciate any purchase that you make. Last but not least, I do want to just remind you and invite you to our Connect to the Curriculum night that is taking place on Thursday, November 15th from 6 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. The teachers here at Poe are putting together some really great and informative presentations for you, the parents, on tons of different topics. We have Daily 5, Everyday Math, which is our math curriculum, School Home Connections, so things you can be doing at home that will support the children when they're here at school. And the specials teachers are putting together a presentation so that you can see what they're doing and how that connects to our curriculum. And we will also be providing childcare if necessary. Please let us know if you are planning on attending. If you forgot or lost the form, that's okay. You can send me an email saying, "Hi, Mrs. Joyce, I'm planning on attending. I will be bringing this many people and I need childcare for my child who is this many years old." We are going to provide childcare that evening so that you can really be focused on hearing what the teachers have to say and that the children can be, in a safe environment, having fun. You don't have to worry about them. So please RSVP if you can make it. And if you can't RSVP or you forget, that's okay. Please still come if you are able. Again, it's 6 p.m. to 7:45 p.m. on Thursday, November 15th. We really, really would love for you to come to that evening. Okay, if you have any questions, as always, please let me know, and I'm happy to meet with you either in person or via phone or email. Okay, thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.